Good night.
On World News Tonight this Wednesday, the American Airlines crash in Arkansas. Was it the weather? When weather conditions are as bad as they were, who makes the decisions? A closer look at judgment in the air. A radical new surgery to restore sight. A new life entirely for some people who are blind. And the horse who no one claimed, running for the history books and millions of dollars.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. It was just before midnight in Arkansas. American Airlines Flight 1420 was under the command of a very experienced pilot. The plane, built by McDonnell Douglas, has a very good safety record. But the weather was something else, described as gusting winds and hail. The plane skidded off the runway, broke into pieces, and burst into flames. There were 145 people on board. At least 9 of them are dead, including the pilot. 80 people were injured. Our first report is from ABC's Lisa Stark in Little Rock.
The force of the crash was clearly evident in the daylight. The American Airlines MD-80 torn apart, shredded, parts of the fuselage ripped off. Investigators are just beginning to piece together what happened as the plane was landing in bad weather last night. After touching down, the jet apparently skidded down the runway and off the end, moving about 1,000 feet down to the river's edge, where it struck a number of structures, including a lighting pylon. The plane broke apart and burst into flames.
We were coming in on the runway, and we were just coming too fast, and we hit the ground. And we all thought once we hit the ground it was okay, but he tried to throw on the brakes. We just kept on going, and we slid off. And all I remember is the stewardess screaming, "Brace yourself."
There were thunderstorms, lightning, and hail as the plane was making its approach. A key issue, what the pilot knew about the weather as he made the decision to land.
If someone informed me that there were 50 knot gusts of wind at the airport that I was preparing to land at, I would leave town.
Investigators will be looking at what the crew's onboard instruments were telling them about the weather and what the controllers were telling them from the ground, where the National Weather Service had predicted hail and wind gusts up to 70 miles an hour moving into Little Rock. The MD-80 is designed to land in maximum crosswinds of 35 miles an hour.
But the key, of course, is what exactly were the winds on the runway at the time of the approach.
The Little Rock Airport is not equipped with sophisticated Doppler radar, but does have a wind shear alert system that measures winds right near the runway. Wind gusts at the airport right after the crash measured more than 80 miles an hour. Lisa Stark, ABC News, Little Rock, Arkansas.
One man who was waiting for the flight to arrive said he heard the announcement that it was on the ground. ABC's Steve Osunsami reports that at that moment on the plane it was madness. Some passengers are still unaccounted for.
Some passengers made it to safety through the exit doors. Others climbed through razor-edged openings in the middle and back of the plane.
This big cloud of smoke started filling the cockpit of the plane, and we just had to rip open the back end of the plane and climb out.
Outside the plane, more fire from the crash and a runway soaked in jet fuel. Officials say most of those who died were seated on the left side, where the plane hit the light tower and the fire began. Carla Cohen sat in seat 12D to the far right of one of the jagged holes.
Where I was, the fastest way out was right there through the crack. I wasn't even thinking of looking for an exit route.
Everyone, she says, was literally stepping on each other. And she says she was pushed through the opening with the rush of frantic passengers.
It was like if someone yelled fire in a theater. Every man for himself. From my vantage point, it was, you know, just insane. Rats off a sinking ship.
Daryl Arnold is one of the survivors.
Well, there was just so much commotion going on. I mean, you know, everybody was more or less in shock.
His stepdaughter was among the many family members who watched the whole scene from the terminal.
I was scared. I was just upset thinking he might not be here anymore.
The scene was such chaos last night that many investigators believe some of those still unaccounted for may have passed them by, met up with relatives, and gone safely home. Steve Osunzami, ABC News, Little Rock.
Later in the broadcast, we'll take a closer look at pilots and weather and also at judgment. The other major news of the day, as it is every day this week, the latest effort to achieve a political solution to the war in Yugoslavia. The President of Finland and Russia's special envoy said today that they have agreed on a plan to end the war. The question is, will Slobodan Milosevic, the Yugoslav president, agree with them? The two emissaries went today to Belgrade to find out. ABC's John McWethy on what we believe happened.
After a 2.5-hour meeting, President Milosevic said nothing. But he did call for a special session of the Serb parliament tomorrow to consider what was being offered. Finnish President Ahtisaari and Russian envoy Chernomyrdin almost did not make the trip to Belgrade today, struggling late into last night over details of a peacekeeping arrangement. Chernomyrdin insisted there be two zones in Kosovo, one controlled by NATO peacekeepers and one by Russian troops. NATO officials continued to insist on one overall command, but the U.S. indicated it might be acceptable for now, saying the U.S. had successfully worked through similar disagreements with Russia on peacekeepers in Bosnia.
I'm confident that we will be able to come up with a similar arrangement in Kosovo.
President Clinton today made it official that if there is a peace agreement, the U.S. would send 7,000 troops as part of a 50,000-strong NATO peacekeeping contingent.
Tomorrow, the Joint Chiefs will brief the president on the 150,000 to 200,000 troops who might be needed if NATO decides to force its way into Kosovo. Though officials admit it is highly unlikely that NATO would ever take such action, they hope the talk alone might add pressure on Milosevic to settle this now. John McWethy, ABC News, The Pentagon.
This is going to be a particularly hair-raising next few hours for some people trying to do good in Yugoslavia. They'll be freelance pilots from the former Soviet Republic of Moldova flying Russian-built aircraft for an American relief agency called the International Rescue Committee. At first light over Kosovo, they will try to drop food for ethnic Albanians who've been displaced by the war and are apparently in desperate shape. ABC's Bill Redeker reports tonight the mission is potentially so hazardous that NATO didn't do it.
In eastern Italy today, 4,000 packages of emergency rations were loaded onto a cargo plane that has been painted white with orange stripes so it will not be mistaken for a NATO plane.
This is an extremely dangerous operation because it's trying to do humanitarian airdrops in the midst of a war zone, a fierce war zone.
Beginning early tomorrow, 2 cargo planes a day will head across the Adriatic Sea, over Serbian anti-aircraft positions, and drop the rations to 50,000 starving people in northern and southern Kosovo, all without permission from the Serbs.
We're not going to ask permission. We're going to notify them that we are doing this flight, and we have done that through many different channels, including direct talks with the FRI mission at the UN in New York and through faxing them directly in Belgrade.
Early this morning, one plane made the trip and encountered some anti-aircraft fire, but it succeeded in dropping leaflets advising that the rations are on the way. NATO forces have promised they will not fly combat missions while relief flights are in the air. The biggest threat is from Yugoslav forces. They warned only yesterday they will not be responsible if one of these planes is shot down. Bill Redeker, ABC News, New York.
Still overseas, in South Africa today, millions of people turned out to vote in the second national election open to all the races in South Africa. President Nelson Mandela's party, the African National Congress, is expected to win easily. Mr. Mandela himself voted today, but he's retiring, and his deputy, Thabo Mbeki, is virtually certain to take over his job, and the transition at the top is likely to be smooth. Mr. Mbeki has handled the day-to-day business of government for much of Mr. Mandela's presidency. When we come back, radical new surgery for many people who are blind. And more strut to the step this week. The question is, will Charismatic take the Triple Crown?
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by the all-new 2000 LeSabre by Buick.
build the new LeSabre, we didn't just look to research numbers or test scores. We also took a good look at your family. Introducing the all-new 2000 LeSabre, re-engineered with more safety features than any other car in its class. The new 2000 LeSabre by Buick.
Introducing new Aleve gel caps. They start fast and work all day long with just 2 pills. It would take 8 Tylenol to do that. If your pain reliever starts fast but won't last, get one that does it all. New Aleve gel caps. Works for me.
Introducing Benecol.
My doctor said I need to watch my cholesterol, but it's hard.
Now there's new hope for millions of people concerned about their cholesterol. Benecol. It's a completely new kind of product used in place of butter or margarine. Studies show that Benecol actually helps promote healthy cholesterol levels.
It really tastes good. And it's good for my cholesterol?
I'd use it.
Benecol isn't just low in cholesterol, it actually promotes healthy cholesterol levels.
New Benecol, now available.
You want something packed and shipped the right way? 3 words: mail, boxes, etc. We do this every day. We're the professionals. You've got to use the right stuff. We can be your company's packing and shipping department. Have something fragile to pack and ship? No problem. I'll take care of it. This should be double boxed. Say you want to ship a grandfather clock. Make 1 phone call to me and it's handled. Big or small, we ship it all. Mailboxes, etc. We're making business easier. We're making life easier.
Have you tried these yet? Specialized blends from One A Day. Herbs, vitamins, and minerals for things like tension and energy. One A Day. They're just what you need to feel your best.
Tonight, when seeing is believing. A study in the New England Journal of Medicine describes a remarkable technique that may help many blind people with severe damage to the surface of the eye to see again. Here's ABC's Jack Smith.
Donald Smoley was blinded by drain cleaner in an accident 31 years ago. But today he can see and even drive.
It was a new life entirely, especially after being told you'd never see again.
His sight was restored by radical new surgery called stem cell transplanting.
We now can have a technique to replace the diseased surface of the cornea, and at least 50% of the patients now give good quality vision.
In the past, patients with severe eye injuries could not benefit from cornea transplants because they didn't take. The new technique makes it possible. This is how it works. Doctors take stem cells from the rim of the eye of a recently deceased donor and graft them onto the damaged eye. These stem cells then grow into a membrane that will protect the cornea.
If we can replace these stem cells and get a healthy surface of the eye, we then can go on and do the standard corneal transplant operation, and in the best case scenario, return all the vision back, and even up to 2020.
Doctors believe the technique may help restore vision to tens of thousands of blind Americans who before had no hope of ever seeing again. Jack Smith, ABC News, Washington.
On the money tonight, the Teamsters Union has reached an agreement with the companies that deliver new cars to dealers. It was the first big contract negotiation for the new Teamster president, James Hoffa, and he did well. The car haulers will make about $70,000 a year in salary and benefits. The average truck driver makes $36,000. On Wall Street, the small stocks making a comeback. After basically being ignored for the last few years, stock funds which invest in companies worth less than $2 billion are up about 10% in the last 2 months. Those are small stocks. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was down more than 18 points today to close at 10,577. On the NASDAQ, stocks were up a little more than 20 points. When we come back, in light of last night's airline crash, a closer look at decision-making in the air.
While Johnny Kim was getting ready for the first customers of the day, someone else was looking at larger space for his growing business. At 3 o'clock, while the Curtis family was watching their daughter's soccer game, someone else was walking a prospective tenant through one of their apartment buildings. And while Carmen Delabar was preparing for a fashion show, someone else met with an appraiser about her investment property. You've got a life. We let you live it. We're realtors. Real estate is our life.
Do you need
need fast allergy relief? Then you need the power of Zyrtec. Prescription Zyrtec starts working fast and lasts 24 hours. In studies, drowsiness was the most common side effect. Others included fatigue and dry mouth. Most were mild or moderate. To learn more about Zyrtec, ask your doctor or pharmacist. So when you need fast allergy relief, remember the power of Zyrtec.
My dentures always fit fine. I never thought of them as a problem until I saw the video of my son's wedding. It was then that I decided to try Fixodent.
Because Fixodent adjusts to the unique contours of your dentures and gums, forming a thin, powerful seal for a better hold than you ever thought possible.
It was like a whole new feeling, so snug and secure. For once, I actually forgot that I even wore dentures. So now, I like what I see.
Find out for yourself what it feels like to Fixodent and forget it.
The best way to cure athlete's foot so it won't come back is here. New Lamisil AT. So powerful, it does what no other brand can do. These take 4 weeks of treatment to kill the fungus. Lamisil AT is so powerful, with just 1 week's use, it stops the itching and burning and cures athlete's foot between the toes. So powerful, a clinical study showed 3 whole months later, users were still athlete's foot free. Now without a prescription. New Lamisil AT, the best way to cure athlete's foot fast so it won't come back.
Given last night's airline crash in Arkansas tonight, we're going to take a closer look at judgment in the air. How are decisions about when and where to fly made, and in some cases not made? What factors are considered, and who is ultimately responsible? In New York this week, American Airlines is facing a lawsuit for a decision made in the air in 1995. Here's ABC's James Walker.
4 years ago, on its way from Los Angeles to New York, American Flight 58 had to make an emergency landing in Chicago because over Green Bay, Wisconsin, the pilot had run head-on into violent thunderstorms. The seatbelt sign was not on, and in the violence of the storm, the passengers were hurled throughout the cabin. When the plane made its emergency landing with 103 passengers, 17 had to be taken to hospitals.
I just flew out of the seat, hit my head, came crashing down, hit the back of my leg, and just was trying to find my kids and my son, and we were screaming.
13 passengers are suing the airline.
American Airlines is responsible. Their flight crew made a series of gross mistakes.
The lawyer for the passengers, Jim Kreidler, accuses the pilots of failing to listen to special weather broadcasts and also to use onboard radar that would have alerted them to the thunderstorms below. American Airlines declined comment on the case. At issue is this question: who is responsible for the safety of a plane? Air traffic controllers, the airlines, weather forecasters, or the pilots?
It's not the tower's responsibility. It's ultimately the captain's responsibility to say, yes, the conditions are safe to land my airplane.
Pilots, though, cannot know everything all the time. In the air, they get some weather information from their onboard radar, from weather forecasts provided by the airline, from air traffic controllers and other aircraft. But sometimes that's not enough.
Some of the most dangerous weather that aircraft are going to face happens very quickly. So there's little time for it to be detected and a warning passed up to the pilots.
For example, the sudden shift in wind speed and direction near a runway known as wind shear that can force an aircraft to lose altitude suddenly. Commercial aircraft now carry equipment to detect it, but only once they are in it. While waiting for the technology to improve, there will always be human error. In 1994, a U.S. Air commuter plane crashed in Charlotte, North Carolina, killing 37 people. The government blamed air traffic controllers who saw dangerous weather, but never told the pilots. James Walker, ABC News, New York.
That American case is obviously one we'll follow. There's not been a fatality on a major American airline in a year and a half. And the last one was a woman who died when the plane she was on ran into severe turbulence en route to Hawaii. A little while ago, we talked about safety and weather to our aviation specialist, John Nance, who happened to be in Georgia today. John, invariably when there's an accident, there's an instant buzz among pilots. What's the buzz today?
I think the buzz, Peter, is that weather is a factor here. We just don't know what role it played. As a matter of fact, when you look at something like this with an oncoming thunderstorm, the tendency is to jump to the conclusion that perhaps this pilot shouldn't have been where he was, making a landing attempt in the face of an oncoming thunderstorm. But we don't know that.
Good pilot with a very good record. What's that tell you?
Well, it tells me we've got a very experienced captain. In fact, the chief pilot in American Airlines base in Chicago. That tells me he's one of the best and brightest.
What are airline policies about getting there, no matter what the weather?
In a large airline, there is no question that the captain is the final authority and can shut down a flight anytime he deems it appropriate. There is always an ethos within an airline to make that flight all the way to destination, or in other words, to complete it, to get the passengers where they want to go, but never at the cost of safety.
But you are saying, I think, that there is pressure on cockpit crews to get there.
Well, there is. There's pressure just inherently because you want your airline to succeed. There's pressure because you're a professional, and a professional wants to get that airplane to the gate. But you have no fear for your job if you shut down the flight or turn around in this case and go back to Dallas.
Our aviation specialist, John Nance, who is a pilot. In a moment, our final piece this evening. So much for the early odds.
And they're off in the...
He's figuring out that he is a little bit more special than we gave him credit for.
Charismatic from unwanted to the favorite.
It's party time. Hot tubs everywhere will be overflowing. Make sure your deck can take the heat with Thompson's Wood Protector. For rain, sun, mildew, it's the most powerful Thompson's yet. Thompson's Wood Protector. It never takes a day off.
So, Murray, did you hear?
About Nick across the way?
Crime of his life.
Yeah, got sprayed.
Didn't he just get sprayed?
Yeah, took off his head, but didn't get the roots. Grew back stronger than ever. Whatever got him this time was different.
He had such strong roots. They were handsome roots. And deep.
I didn't think anything could take old Nick.
Hey, next time, it could be us.
Don't even think it.
Roundup kills even tough weeds down to the root. Roundup, no root, no weed, no problem.
If you're one of the 36 million people who wear dentures, this is big. Polident Overnight, now with PolyShield, cleans tough stains overnight, then forms an invisible barrier to keep you feeling fresh all day.
Around here, it's not every day we all get together.
We're making them dinner. Come on, you guys.
But when we do, it's great that the folks at Kraft make Italian.
I love this stuff.
Because it's the one thing we agree on. That way, we can talk about what's on our minds instead of what's on our plates.
Whose idea was this? Well, Kale has a boyfriend.
I guess they just know what we like.
A what?
He's a senior.
He's a senior?
Around here, the dressing is Kraft. For something different, try one of Kraft's new vinaigrettes.
He works in Washington. She works in Washington. He's booked all week. She's booked all week. They get together on the weekends for as little as 2.5 cents a minute. Introducing Sprint 1000. 1,000 minutes of weekend calling every month for $25. 2.5 cents a minute. And they say people in Washington are out of touch. Call Sprint at 1-800-PIN-DROP now.
Can you return things like vitamins? At GNC you can. Every product comes with a 100% money-back guarantee. We're talking about something you put in your body. If you're not satisfied, we're not either. GNC. Come in. Live well. Does your multivitamin know you're a man? Mega Men from GNC is made especially for men with ingredients like saw palmetto and ginseng that other brands don't have. It's your body. Take what belongs to you. GNC. Come in. Live well.
Nancy will have to see from near to far almost 1,000 times today. Her eyes will focus on 40 labels, 60 charts, and 100 smiles. And in all that time, she'll never once think about the science that allows her to focus instantly at all distances. Nancy just knows that her Verilux lenses help her see better. And for her, that's a very comforting thought. Verilux, the comfort of better vision. For more information, call toll-free 1-800-VERILUX.
Tonight, he terrified his community, threatened his neighbors. How? He eavesdropped on their private phone conversations. Can it happen to you? A Chris Wallace investigation on 2020, tonight at 10, 9 Central.
Just a brief review of the top story, the crash of American Airlines Flight 1420 in very bad weather in Little Rock last night. At least 9 people are dead, and there are still some unaccounted for. Investigators are currently looking into what the pilots knew of the weather before the decision was made to land. Finally, from us this evening, no longer a dark horse, got to be the favorite. This Saturday, when the third leg of racing's Triple Crown is run at Belmont Park here in New York, the 3-year-old stallion, Charismatic, who arrived at the track today, will try to become the first horse in 21 years to win all three of these most famous of American horse races. The last horse was Affirmed, ridden by Steve Cawthon in 1978. This year, Charismatic, who will be ridden again by Chris Antley, has gone from Also Ran to Star. ABC's Dean Reynolds paid a visit.
Trainer Wayne Lucas says he can see a difference in Charismatic now.
He's got a little more strut to his step than he had before the Preakness and the Derby, and I think that he's figuring out that he is a little bit more special than we gave him credit for.
And they're off in the Kentucky Derby. Charismatic gets away quickly. He was a 31-to-1 shot a month ago at Churchill Downs. And here comes Charismatic rolling up and taking command. And a long shot at 8-to-1 2 weeks later. Charismatic, the Derby winner, wins the Preakness. Where did he come from? Is he really that good? Down the stretch they come. Dave Johnson will call the race on Saturday.
Some horses just blossom at the right time, and Charismatic did.
Charismatic was fat, undisciplined, and not worth much just 4 months ago.
Charismatic extreme outside.
His owners were trying to sell him by showcasing him in lower-class contests known as claiming races, where anybody could have claimed him and bought him, in his case, for just $62,500. But nobody did.
I'd have been delighted if somebody had taken the horse. I would have taken the $62,500 gleefully.
Now, after his Derby and Preakness victories, he's worth $10 million in winnings and prospective stud fees. Even more if he captures the Triple Crown. His owners are pinching themselves.
I'm sure there are a lot of knowledgeable people in the thoroughbred industry who would say those Lewises are crazy as hell. Because
they're lucky.
and just dumb luck. And I wouldn't argue with them for 1 minute because I believe that too.
Charismatic's great-grandfather is the legendary Secretariat, who won the Triple Crown in 1973. At Belmont on Saturday, that bloodline will be tested over a 1.5-mile course, farther than Charismatic and his challengers have ever raced.
You better reach down and get something from that gene pool that's going to carry him that last quarter of a mile.
At home in Kentucky last week, the Derby and Preakness champion was fit and ready to go, according to his handlers, and there's a sense in his stable that the public is with him at last.
There's a common thread, I think, that runs through sports in America where they want the underdog to succeed.
After so much disrespect, you could say that today, this horse is Charismatic. Dean Reynolds, ABC News, Louisville.
That is our report on World News Tonight. There'll be more on the American Airlines crash on 2020 and also on Nightline. I'm Peter Jennings. I hope we'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Tomorrow, a growing problem. Innocent drivers, now deadly weapons, causing thousands of crashes and fatalities every year. Watch ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. ABCnews.com, now a part of the GO Network.
Tonight, America's love affair with Drew Carey continues.
Tonight, it's just me and you. If I have too many beers, it's just you.
And finally, hold on to your, because it's back. The smash hit, Whose Line Is It Anyway, with host Drew Carey, right after the Drew Carey Show. See you tonight on ABC.
Now, News 2 at 6. First, fast, accurate.
I've got nothing but good things to say about him. He's a fine, it just doesn't sound like, the Matt Rogers we know.
Neighbors are shocked by allegations that a Middle Tennessee college student committed a violent hate crime. Good evening. We'll have that story for you in just a moment.
But first, some storms are growing here in Middle Tennessee. Davis is tracking them on Storm Tracker 2000. Davis?
Bob, we have a severe thunderstorm watch for east of Nashville. Let's check out Storm Tracker 2000. Things are all quiet right here in the center of your screen where Nashville is located, but I want to point out the storms here right along I-40 from east of Lebanon, right along the Wilson County, as well as Putnam County border. We've got 4 storms back to back, one that's just leaving